everybody. This is Franco Milan with the WholeFlips Real Estate Podcast. I'm here with our special guest, Steve Trang from Real Estate Disruptors.
How's it going, guys?
Thank you for coming, Steve. It's a pleasure having you here.
The honor is mine, dude.
Thank you. So let's jump right into it, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm not an Arizona native.
Yeah.
But I came here when I was 7 months old, so pretty much am.
Oh, okay.
So, I've known Phoenix my whole life. There was a 3-year mistake in California, but I came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. So when you came, so you were originally from California and you came here, were you in real estate when you got here? How'd you get into real estate? What was it before real estate?
So I was born in Italy, right? So I came here as an immigrant, but when I went to California, it's because I went there to get my master's degree in electrical engineering.
Really?
So I got a master's degree, worked at Intel in California for a little bit, came back here as soon as there was an opening in Chandler, because that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
And so, but what got me into real estate was I'm just not employee material. I'm not good at taking orders from people.
Yeah.
All those entrepreneurs were just really bad order takers. So
we're a little special. Yeah, we don't like following orders. We're a little impatient.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna be my own boss. Work for myself. I didn't realize because I went in the traditional side first. Being on the traditional side, you're not your own boss. You're the buyer's the buyer's your boss. The seller's your boss.
Yes.
Only people you get to really order around are like title and lenders.
That's
but
true.
Everyone else is your boss, so that was the wrong move.
Exactly.
And I transitioned to wholesale.
That's good. So you never liked did you have any businesses before real estate, or you were just kind of looking, trying to see what type of business you would get into to become your own boss?
So the plan when I got started at Intel was to become a contractor.
Okay.
Instead of being an Intel employee, they would hire for work. A lot of tech companies would.
Okay.
And that was the plan, because if I went that route, you could pay like 50 to 80% more, but you don't get any benefits. So, but that was my original plan. Before engineering, when I was a kid, I used to buy those little lemon packets for a nickel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
At Espinosa's in Chandler.
Yeah.
Sell it for a quarter. I used to sell. I was pretty good at math, so I'll do the math test in the morning, put all the answers on my calculator, and then auction my calculator to the highest bidder. Like,
Really?
I was always an entrepreneur.
Yo.
But real estate was my first real business.
Okay, I see. So you always had that itch of, entrepreneurs buying something, selling it for a profit. You always wanted to get in. Somehow we're interested in entrepreneurship.
Or poker, right? Like poker. I tried going pro as a poker. It didn't work,
Really?
but I tried going pro as a poker player.
How was that?
Well, I was really good in the local games,
Mm-hmm.
But not in Vegas.
Not in Vegas.
Vegas, I always got humbled.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know you were until right now that you were just telling me a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
A big poker player. So if you guys want to play poker, we got a great poker player, guys.
Gotta find a no limit game.
Exactly. So this leads us to the next question. So before you were always an entrepreneur. You came to Phoenix. I know you said you were an Intel employee. What made you take that leap? It's hard sometimes being an employee, getting a good stable paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
What motivated you? Did you have kids?
I was still single, so here was the challenge I always had. When I was an employee,
Okay.
I was making at that time when I first considered getting into real estate, I was making $70,000 a year. Right, I was doing pretty good.
Not bad.
Including benefits and everything. Around $100,000. Right, but as an employee, it didn't matter how many hours you worked. That's how much you made.
Yeah.
So for me, the only way to increase my dollars per hour was to work fewer hours. And so that's what I did. I would work like 25, 30 hours a week. And that was it. Like, if you caught me after 5, like you struck gold. Like on Mondays, I left at 4 p.m. so I could make it to the first game of Lifetime Fitness, because that's where all the NFL players are playing.
Right.
So like for me, that was the focus.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just knew I had to work in somewhere where I was getting compensated based off my value, not based off an hourly rate.
Okay. So you slowly started getting into it, until getting paid by value, and I guess that's how you felt confident of, because we get this question a lot. you know, I have a paid stable paycheck, I have a family, what would you recommend? What would you recommend for someone who has a stable paycheck and trying to make that leap?
Yeah, so you just got to make that decision for yourself, right? You got to decide, am I worth more than $100 an hour? You know, like if you're totally content with your upside, you know, because you got your downside, your upside, that's it, right? That's your hourly rate. You're not getting paid less, you're not getting paid more. But if you're willing to bet on yourself and say, you know what, I'm willing to eat basically crap sandwiches for a few years, knowing that you're making 200, 300, 500,000 a year, and willing to take that bet on yourself, then you make that run. But if you don't feel comfortable with making 20,000, 30,000 for the first couple of years, then maybe not take that leap.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't have said it any better. Just know, you said something very key. Knowing that for the next couple of years you're gonna be eating, you know, crab sandwiches.
Ramen noodles. It's just gonna suck.
In
the beginning, and no one talks about it. Everyone, you see the flash, you see the club scene, you see the money, you see the checks. No one talks about that. It sucks.
Exactly. First, even I would say even 5 years. You know, 3 to 5 years. So it depends how fast you move, but people, you know, still trying to make money. So, I mean, you have to pretty much just, you know, bootstrap down and just go ahead and move forward, and knowing that you're gonna be, you know, kind of living paycheck to paycheck for a better future.
You know, in some ways, it's kind of crazy. Like you're better off having a job that you hate. To make that push, you know, if you're making $30,000, $40,000 a year, it's easier to make that bet. It's harder, and it sounds stupid, but it's harder if you're making $80,000, $100,000, $120,000 a year to take that leap, because now you're leaving a comfortable base.
Exactly. So there you go, guys. That's the tip. I know we have this question here come up, and well, now to the real estate. I know you're licensed. You're actually a broker. You're my broker. You kind of already touched up on it, like, you know, you wanted to become your own boss, and you got into real estate. Would you recommend anybody become a broker?
No, absolutely not. So everyone that, it's funny, right? And I had the same mindset, that you think, you know, now that I'm an agent, the next step is to become a broker. And absolutely that is not the case. So, you know, if I had to do it all over again, honestly, I would not have started the brokerage. I would just wholesale from the get-go.
You would just wholesale.
But because I've, you know, basically sucked at it for like 3 to 5 years, now that I've got a business in the brokerage, I'm going to keep it going and keep it sustainable. So the cool thing is here, I get to pick who my agents are. I get to be friends with them, right? And I get to run an exclusive club. But starting a brokerage, that was not a mistake, but I would not do that if I had to do it all over again.
Okay. Yeah, because I know we talked about it, you know, and actually myself, I asked her, hey, would you recommend it? Why exactly, you know, like you said, not that it's a mistake, but why not? Why not a brokerage?
So if you look
sorry to interrupt, but why not grow it, sell it for a couple millions, you know, 2-3 years down the road?
Well, I don't think
maybe 5 years, you know.
No one's paying millions for a brokerage.
Okay.
But the reason why is that it goes back to your time per hour, right? So could you start a brokerage and make money? 100%. It took me 5 years to start making money, right? Where I wasn't writing checks anymore. But the opportunity cost, you know, how much more you could have scaled your wholesale business, how much you could have scaled your traditional business, or whatever industry you're in, all that time that this headache you're dealing with over here, instead of dealing with a headache, you could have done something where you're actually making money, right? You just got to value your time, and there was a lot of time that was thrown away going the brokerage route.
So would you say like a lot of paperwork, maybe training agents, that stuff that wasn't really producing you big chunks of money, that you could have been putting that time and energy into something else like wholesaling that you just mentioned? Yeah,
right. I mean, if you wholesale, if you're wholesaling and you're not making like $100,000 a year, like by your second or third year, you're doing something wrong, right?
Okay, yeah.
So you got to look at your time then. If you're doing a brokerage, it's going to take a while to get to the point where you're breaking 6 figures. A long time.
Yeah, it's smaller checks, I guess.
So it's smaller checks. I mean, you're making, you know, $250 to $500 in revenue as a broker, not like profit, as revenue per transaction. And you're paying all your expenses off that little tiny revenue. Versus wholesale, you're doing 5K grips, 50K grips, and we got one right now. We're probably gonna clear 100.
100. Tell us a little bit about that one.
So
is it a single family house? Is it a
it's a single family home, yeah. Single family home was just a situation where 4 siblings inherited it,
Okay.
and 3 of them hate the 4th one, and haven't talked to him in over 5 years. And so just so they don't have to deal with each other anymore, they're selling us the house, and we're going to pay less than $50K for it. And
That's insane.
we're looking at ARVs over 200.
Over to that's insane. So, and maybe that's one of the questions here, right? Let me touch up on that. The bigger the problem, the bigger the check, right? So
100%.
So guys, don't be scared. If there's a transaction that you're having a little bit of trouble, or you see that it's going to get really, really twisted, that's a good deal. It could be possibly a really, really good check.
I mean, that one's such a complicated situation. We hired a consultant to walk us through the situation. Yeah.
So was it a probate? No, it wasn't a probate. Was it just
This is joint tenancy.
Just joint tenancy?
Yeah, we've never done joint tenancy before.
Okay, that's crazy. There you guys go. Like the bigger the problem, the bigger the check.
Yep.
So a little bit about the wholesaling. How did you get into the wholesaling? Like how did you stumble upon it? So because you told me you were getting into the real estate as a real estate agent, but how'd you come across it?
So my cousin Wayne, who's my business partner on OfferFast, when I got into real estate in 2007, he jumped into flipping in 2007.
Okay.
So should I follow his path? 100%. But we are where we are. So he was actually wholesaling from the get-go. And doing really, really well, right? Like at that time, it wasn't hard to do 30, 40K in assignment fee.
What year was this?
2007, 2008.
2008.
It wasn't hard to clear 30K in assignment fee, right? Because there wasn't that much competition.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew about it, but I was like, that's not gonna last. That's just a fad. That won't stick around. I'm gonna keep building my foundation. I'm gonna make more money than him down the road. So hindsight, I was wrong, but I did stumble into wholesale again in 2012 because that's when I started doing pay-per-click for listings. So I'm trying to get listings, and at that time I thought, what's my house worth, property values. That's what I was going after at first.
Yeah.
And I wasn't getting any leads. I was like, okay, what do I need to target? Then I found, okay, buy my house, sell my house fast, buy my house now.
Okay.
So I started going after these keywords. And with these keywords, your landing page has to be different, your message has to be different.
Yeah.
So what do? I see who else is doing it. Sean Terry, the only other guy doing it.
Yeah.
So I just basically copied his website, and I would go to the appointments that people I wanted a cash offer, and I would say, look, here's the situation. Cash offer, you're not going to make that much. If we list it, here's what you're going to get. And I got a lot of listings that way.
Okay.
But every once in a while, they're like, no, I want a cash offer. Like, why would you want a cash offer?
Yeah.
And the first couple times, I bought a house, and then the third and fourth time, I realized I was paying too much. I was paying 80%.
Okay.
Then I started offering 75%. Then I started offering 70%. And we ran out of money. Like, we had too many houses tied up.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, now I have to tie them up for even less, so I can wholesale them to Jamil.
Jamil.
So
was that really the person you were selling to?
That's who I was selling
to.
to. I was wholesaling to Jamil. Before it was Keegley, it was just Jamil, just this other, really nice, friendly guy who mentored me on how to move deals. But yeah, I stumbled into it again because I ran out of money. I couldn't flip any more houses.
Okay, that's crazy. That's you see, guys, it's just, and that's funny. It's funny that you say that you didn't think wholesale was gonna be around, because I used to think the same way.
Yeah.
When I got into it, I was like, man, I don't know. It kind of sounds like a scheme. I don't know. But I really those thoughts did go through my head.
Yeah.
But look, it's I started doing my research. Mark Evans, all those guys, Joe McCall have been doing it for a while. So. It's great.
And even today, there are still realtors out there. It's like, it's a fad, it won't last. Like, all right,
yeah.
I'm just gonna keep enjoying.
It's crazy. And I'm just gonna keep enjoying those big checks. They're $100,000 checks. Yeah. So that's great. It's great. It's funny. It's just inspirational how Kigley, Jamil's been doing it for a while. You've been doing it for a while. It's just it keeps building up, and you have to start somewhere, guys. You have to start somewhere. Now the next question. Let's go to the properties. How many properties are you currently closing a month right now?
So I wish our numbers were bigger, but we're doing right now 4 or 5 houses a month.
4 or 5 houses a month.
We just did our P&L. Again, I wish our numbers were bigger, but we're at 400,000 revenue for the year.
Okay.
We're probably gonna have 500,000 at the end of the year.
Not bad.
I wish it were bigger.
Not bad at all.
But 500,000, I guess we'll take it.
That's good. I'll take that. 500,000, $500,000.
Yep.
Next question. You have a really strong team. You have Max Menace. You have I know I see Miguel help you guys out a lot. How do you have How do you have a strong team?
So I gave this talk back in Houston,
Yeah.
and it's basically how do you build your own cult,
Okay.
right? So if you look at culture, the word cult is actually the root word
Cult.
in culture.
Okay.
And so there's several things that we look at, and one of my favorite books on leadership is Good Leaders Ask Great Questions, which I saw you tag 21 Laws of Leadership
Yeah.
by John Maxwell. And John Maxwell is like the guy
Yeah.
when it comes to leadership. So he wrote another book, Good Leaders Ask Great Questions, which is my favorite of his books. I've only read 3 or 4 of them.
Okay.
But in there, he talks about there's 3 questions that everyone on your team has to answer positively, right? And the questions is, if someone took Max and
Yeah.
just put him in a room where I'm not there, is ask him these 3 questions. Does he care about me? Yes. Can I trust him? Yes. Can he help me? Yes. And if you can answer yes to those 3 questions, then you can have a really big team, a really strong team. Not big, strong team.
Strong team.
But you have to care about your people. You have to be able to help them, and they have to trust you. And that's a character thing, right? That's an integrity thing. Will he do what's best for me when I'm not around? That's a tough question, right? Because a lot of guys are sharks. I'm not saying greedy, just not everyone does always what's best for the team.
Exactly.
So you have to operate from integrity. You have to be capable to help somebody. Like Max could do this on his own. Tomorrow he can quit, do this on his own, and run a very successful business.
Yeah.
So I have to be providing enough value where it makes sense for us to work together. And that's a challenge.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I've seen it. I've heard it from other companies where guys go in, stick around for a year or maybe even less, and they bounce and do their own thing.
Yeah. So one thing I would say is I've spent more on personal development than most people I know. More than 99.9% of people I know.
Okay.
So I've personally spent my own dollars over $200,000 in personal development.
What type of personal development?
So the first one was Craig Proctor, which is traditional real estate.
Okay.
I've done Darren Hardy, multiple products from Darren Hardy. I've done Strategic Coach. I've gone through Sandler. There's just so many programs I've gone through.
Yeah.
On top of all the books I've read, on top of all the seminars I've gone through, right? Like there's just so much I've invested in myself. So the only reason why I can help somebody is because I've invested so much in myself.
Okay.
And I didn't invest in myself, then I can't provide nearly enough value for the people around me.
And I can see it, I can see it like it's a really great, you're just not in it for yourself. You're actually, you're genuine, you can see that. And a lot of people, like you said, when they start, they kind of have a little bit of greed, they see the big checks, not understanding that this is a relationships business.
Yeah.
You have to, be able not to let greed get in the way and the big checks and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see it sometimes, right? Like we hear stories like, man, he didn't pay me on that deal. Right, like I locked it up and he didn't pay me. And maybe it's not even he didn't pay me.
Yeah.
Maybe he argued how much he should have paid me. Or it took him 6 weeks instead of 3 days to pay him.
Yeah.
Just those little things will destroy morale. And that's when they start looking elsewhere.
Yeah. Key things. So if you guys make sure you rewind this video and listen what Steve just said, guys. Invest in yourself and that way you can be able to help others. Know how to help others, guys.
Right.
So that's very key. What type of marketing do you do to get your deals?
There's just really 2 main ones. And it was cold calling and then RVM text combo.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That's one of the best. Would you recommend anything else?
That's all we're doing, right? So we're cold calling through Mojo, and I know there's some other great dialers out there, but Mojo has just been the most consistent for us.
Yeah.
It's the easiest for our guys to use, and whatever's easiest for our guys to call, that's what we're going to use.
Okay, yeah. You don't want to get too complicated.
Don't get complicated. With those other platforms, they're great, but they require more administrative support.
Yeah.
We run a really lean operation, and then For right now, what we're doing is we're using Slingshot. So that way we can do the RVM and the text combination. So that's been what's really good for us. We found that by doing an RVM followed by a text, we get way more conversations.
Okay, that's great. And let me touch up on Mojo. You call the leads that come in Mojo in that monthly membership?
No, we're calling stuff from batch.
Okay.
Right, like we're buying, we're pulling lists from all these different places, and then we're skip tracing it with batch, run it through the lead stacker, export from the lead stacker in the Mojo, and we go to town with it.
Okay, perfect. There you guys go. Sometimes that's sometimes we get stuck on trying to build these. We hear everything, we hear okay, this program, this person has this, and we're trying to go after all those programs. Great example. You have a very lean Mojo, and you're getting deals. You're killing it. You're about to get the $100,000 deal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you don't have to overcomplicate. That's the greatest challenge as an entrepreneur is trying to get creative.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the smartest guy that wins. It's the guy that does what works consistently that wins.
And sticks to it, right?
Sticks to it.
Yeah, there you guys go. I know we get that question a lot. What system are you using? What are you using? Oh, I'm gonna do that now. So it's very hard, and then they don't fully master one, and they jump up to the next thing, and they leave money on the table.
Right.
Now, what's your average profits? Do you have an average profit, or they're a little bit all over the?
So our average net, average gross is 14,400 and change.
14,000.
Yeah. So our goal is 15K, right? That's a 15K fee. That's our goal, and we're only in Phoenix. We're not in any other market, so that's just Phoenix. Our target is 15. We're at 14.4.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the gross revenue. Our average net. I know we were looking at our P&Ls. Our net bottom line is 44%.
44%. Okay. And this leads me to the next question. On the net, you just mentioned. So your disposition team, I don't know who it is, but if he sees that he could sell it for 14,000, he just pulls the trigger without asking you, or does he still has to ask you?
He runs a lot of things by Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not involved in the daily stuff. I'm more involved in when there's like, here's the situation that we're running into. How do we resolve this? It could be a title issue. It could be the buyer. It could be the seller's objection, whatever. That's when I normally get involved.
Okay.
But actual numbers, I trust everyone to run that without my input.
To pull the trigger. Okay. It's very solid. Very lean. You have leaders.
Leaders.
Leaders. Yeah. Okay. And what's your why, Steve?
This is gonna be a terrible answer, but I don't truly know my why. A lot of people, they ask, "What's your why?" And I've gone through it. I know what I'm passionate about, and what I'm passionate about is developing other leaders.
Okay.
Helping entrepreneurs build businesses that support their lives, support their lifestyle. I know that's what I'm passionate about. But as far as my why, I'm just wired to want to be number one. I'm gonna keep coming, and until I'm number one. And then once I'm number one there, then I'm gonna be number one in a different field. We just gotta find other competition, other people to pass.
So you like challenges. It seems like you like challenges.
Super competitive.
Super competitive. Yeah, that's where it goes. Yeah, because you just said that once you master that field or that business, then you're gonna hop on to the next because you like those challenges. You like that fire.
Yeah, that next objective, that next challenge, and I think there was this book a while ago. It was about tiger moms and whatever, and basically what they talked about is like the Asian culture, a lot of the Middle Eastern culture, and what they have is they have these incredibly high expectations for their kids.
Yeah.
Where no matter what they do is not good enough, so they're super competitive, and they're never satisfied. And so I think being raised in that culture is never good enough. No matter you can get 100%, it's like, well, your handwriting sucks.
Yeah.
Right? You got 99%. Well, why didn't you get 100? Why didn't you study harder? And I think that, growing up with that, it's just been ingrained in me to be super competitive and never satisfied.
It's funny that you say that, because we know that Middle Eastern Asians, they have really tight, that they're always their parents and that the society's expecting more out of them.
Mm-hmm.
They want it. Hispanics are kind of the same way. My parents the same way. Just touch up on it. It's funny you say that. Not that they didn't care, but they just wanted to expect more, and that's what keeps pushing you.
High expectations.
High expectations.
Yeah. So those are two good qualities that come out of it. The third one is they usually need more therapy, but.
Yeah. You're right. So books. Now I heard you mention a book. What books would you recommend to our entrepreneurs, wholesalers?
Yeah. So this is is said so many times, but I would say Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich.
You could just read that book multiple times. You don't even need to read other books in the beginning. You can just read that book multiple times. I think it'll take you really far.
Yeah.
After that, I love Never Split the Difference, and I love Traction.
Traction. Okay.
But those are really more advanced topics.
Yeah.
I would say if you just read Think and Grow Rich like 5 times, you would get really far. Because I read over 100 books, and I read Think and Grow Rich once, which we all do, right? We try to go through all these different books, as many books as we can, and then I re-listened to Think and Grow Rich again on Audible, where there's one where it actually has Napoleon Hill talking in it.
Okay.
But I went through it a second time. I was like, man, if I would have just gone through this book multiple times, this book covered multiple other books.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a big book. Yeah,
it's
a big book.
Difficult read.
It's
a really difficult read. A lot of people give up on it, which is ironic. Because
I'm not gonna lie, I was so close to finishing it, and then I hopped onto another book, which I still need to finish it.
But the great irony in it is that book is about persistence.
Persistence, nice. So I need to reread it. Re-listen to it.
Yeah.
Re-listen to it. Next question, podcast. How do you stay? Because you got several things going on. What would you recommend to our viewers? What gets you up going? Going in every morning, because you got the podcast going. You got your brokerage. You're flying in and out of the city. How do you keep going?
This goes back to the why. I think just I'll never be satisfied.
Okay.
I guess there's one thing where I know I will be satisfied. I hope.
Yeah.
Right. And it's when I buy the Cardinals.
When you buy the Cardinals, okay.
Hopefully by then I will be satisfied. I remember the Audi S4 was one of my dream cars.
Yeah.
Back when I was an engineer, I was like, man, one day I'm gonna get an S4. And I bought it. I bought an S4.
Nice.
And it was disappointing. It was I
it
did
was
it.
disappointing.
I did it. It was a fun car. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But you have these things that you want to buy,
Mm-hmm.
and you find out after you buy them, it's not as cool as you thought.
Yeah.
So, I love my kids. They're my passion.
Yeah.
I love my wife. But I can't say I got out of bed for my wife and my kids, because if that was the case, I could have stayed at Intel.
Yeah.
I had a really good job. I paid really well with really good benefits. I could have stayed there. Who knows where I would have been. Actually, when I quit, my boss was like, it's really sad to see you quit, because I see you as being a VP one day at Intel. That's what he said to me. So if it was just about my wife and kids,
Mm-hmm.
I could have just stayed at Intel,
Okay.
But I just feel we're put on this planet to do certain things, and I'm just gonna keep going after it. Who knows where I'll end, but I'm gonna keep doing bigger and better things.
I'm sure you're gonna keep creating businesses, helping people around you, and being the great man you are.
Oh, thank you.
So that's it, guys. If you guys have any questions, make sure to contact Steve. Steve, you want to share your social media, maybe your Instagram, your podcast, any of that
Yeah,
stuff?
so the best way to get a hold of me is Instagram at steve.trang. I'm most responsive there. We got the podcast Real Estate Disruptors. We have amazing guests. You were on the show, one of the best episodes. So
Thank you.
But yeah, reach out to me on Instagram at steve.trang. That's where I will respond the best.
Here you guys go. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you subscribe, comment, and share. And if you do, guys, I'll be choosing one person for a 15-minute consultation call. So make sure you share, guys. Thank you for watching. Until the next one.
Thank you.